Hello, hey, Tim Wrights here. I wanted to take a few moments and get you familiar with how to renew your national registry. And I'll apologize for my voice right now. Developed laryngitis right after our last refresher class, but I wanted to make sure that we had our ability to go ahead and get this out to you as a vodcast. So a couple things. First off, if you're going to be watching this video from a perspective of somebody who's participated in one of our programs, this is great. It's going to help you out with some stuff for Pennsylvania and very specific to our program. The other thing is that it's also great because you get to look at this from any other perspective. So anybody in the country can really take a look at it as well. Right now you see that the registry EMT application for the iOS is right there. And we'll talk about that here in the program. And one of the other things before we get started is I want to make sure that you're aware that while the video that you're about to see, and I'm going to walk you through some stuff, is going to give you the idea that I've gone back and I'm entering stuff post-class to put it into the registry website, into my transcript. This is designed so that you can do this yourself. As you are heading towards your renewal process, this is going to allow you the ability as the provider to identify the areas that you need to work on for your education. So plan ahead makes life a whole heck of a lot easier. And with the advent of having Recert 2.0 with your educational transcript, we're going to find out there's some great things with that. So if you're in Pennsylvania, I'll show you to make sure that you can log into your EMS registry system, and I'll show you what that is here real quick, and then we'll get started. Right, so as you can see, if you're a Pennsylvania certified provider, if you go to the EMS portal, which is right here, you can see the website here is at ems.health.state.pa.us, and then /registry/logon.aspx. Or you can also check that out at pehsc.org, or for my region, it would be saems.com. Anyway, once you get in here, you can go ahead and put in your username and password, and this will help verify all of the continuing education that you have been granted. Again, I encourage you that when you complete a class within the next 10 days that it is supposed to be due into the system, that you go ahead and check to make sure that you've received credit. If not, it is urgent then that you contact the provider at that point so they can get things taken care of. Okay, so let's get started with the National Registry re-registration process. Okay, so one of the things that you need to make sure that you can do is go to your National Registry account. And when you go to your National Registry account, you go to NREMT.org. You go ahead and click on your login, put your login information, and this is the dashboard that should come up. Once you are in, you're going to come up here to where it has candidate. And you are going to come over here to this nice little drop-down menu. Again, I'm going to click this drop-down menu, and you can see here it has now My Certification. Once you've clicked on My Certification, it will bring you over to this page. And this page is going to give you some general information about your dashboard or about your certification. So since it's time to recertify, we have to go through. It tells you right off the bat what steps you need to take. And one of those first steps you're going to need to take is right here, which is to add courses to your transcript. There are two ways in which you can do this. The first way is going to be utilizing the National Registry Recert 2.0 app. You can get this and download it either from Google Play or from iTunes. And it is free for you to download. And once it is on your mobile device, it makes life a whole heck of a lot easier. You can add your classes to your transcript much easier, and everything is then entered into your account. Or you may utilize the National Registry website, which are already into the account, and you can add it in your transcripts. So let's take a look at both ways. All right, so one of the first things you need to make sure that you do is that you're going to go in and you're going to select the app, which is the NREMT app, and that is going to be Recert 2.0. So once we have opened up the app, you will notice that it gives you a transcript, and this shows you currently what you already have into the your transcript system. So here, based off of the recertification process, you can see that it's at about a little over 40%. So we're going to go ahead and let's show you how to enter a class into your transcripts. So once we have chosen or decided to go ahead and enter in, we have some information, and you can see here that we scroll over and we can select a continuing education course, whether it's a refresher course, part of a NCCP course. We can also do certification. Now, certification in this case is going to be things such as NREMT, those standardized courses like that. For us right now, we're also going to take a look at doing the renewal portion. And from this point on, we're going to just go ahead and start entering in our information. As you can see, there's just a little bit of information that is required for you to start filling this information in. Now, just for simplicity here, what I am going to enter in is a NCCP renewal for an operations section I completed earlier in February of 2019, and we're going to show you how to go ahead and you can enter that information in. If you notice that you need to answer a few questions, including how long the class actually is for credit. Doesn't mean the whole day, but it means how long are you actually receiving it for credit. So we're going to go ahead and enter in our information, and we have to put in our date, and in this case it was February 23rd, and how many hours was it worth, and we'll go ahead and select those from a drop-down menu, and then it wants to know whether or not you taught the course, and in this case I did teach part of the course, so we're going to scroll down and we're going to complete putting in any more information, which includes the location, meaning the country. We're also going to take a look at the state, and we're also going to take a look at the city. We're also going to add in some information just as who is the instructor, and so go ahead and put in who the primary instructor was. So it's usually who's going to be the one coordinating this, and then you can put additional information in. The nice thing about putting in the additional information is that National Registry does have the ability to take a look and see exactly what the description is about. So the more information that you put in, the better off you're going to be as well. The sponsoring institution, who actually sponsored the course, and here you can see I'm just putting in Conemaugh School of EMS. It may be Southern Alleghenies EMS, whoever else it may be. It also wants to know whether or not you would like to add any attachments. You may do so now, or you can do so at a later date. So once you've entered in your information, you can go ahead and add in another. You will show you about why things are green here, but in the process, go ahead and get the remainder of your courses ready, and we'll show you how to make sure we can enter all those in. So if we're going to use the transcript right off the National Registry website, we're going to come right here to where it says transcript, and we can go ahead and click it. And when we do so, it will auto-populate anything that you may have already placed in. One of the things that you may notice is that there are two things that you may be able to do. The first one would be to add a new course to my transcript, and we're going to go through that. The other one, though, is what I find to be a nice little cool feature if you use CAPC for anything, is the import CAPC courses. So let's take a look at this. Now, CAPC is nationally accredited continuing education credits. So one of the things that CAPC does is it actually connects the National Registry and CAPC to be able to import your continuing education credits from the CAPC database into your National Registry transcript. So here you can see that I have a couple courses that I have utilized recently in the past, in this past year, for working on stuff for education, and these are part of, they are sitting inside of my CAPC transcript. So if I want to import any of these into my process, into my renewal, all I have to do is select which one I want. Okay? Now, one more thing I wanted to show you. This is going back through my transcript, and I just realized this again, that if you take a NAEMT course, National Association of EMT course, I can't speak for some of the other ones. All I can tell you is that from a National Association of EMT course, when that information is uploaded to NAEMT, it then goes to CAPC, and therefore it then links into your account for National Registry. So every time that you go to an NREMT course and it asks for your National Registry number, this is why it becomes important that you remember that information, and it just makes life a whole heck of a lot easier for us. So one of the things that you can do, again, add a course into your transcript. So let's find out about this. I'm just going to enter one in here. This was a continuing education course, and this course was actually called CISM, Advanced Crisis Intervention. This was approved by the Pennsylvania Department of Health, so I'm going to let that go. Now, when it was conducted, it was going to be in June. As you can see, it was a little behind here. And this was conducted on June 13th. And this was good for 14 hours. I did not teach the course, and the instructor was present. This was located in the United States. This was in, basically this occurred in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So I can go ahead and put in Johnstown. So the lead instructor for this was Barb Erty, and make sure I was spelling it correctly. And now I can save. I can then view my transcript, or I can go ahead and add another one in. And what is happening at this point is that it is beginning to put everything together for me for my renewal. All right, so if I'm back at my dashboard, when you go to your dashboard, you will notice that if you scroll down just a little bit, there's going to be an area here that is called Recertification CE Summary. So based off of what you have already put in, so as an example, you saw when I entered in the material from the NCCP renewal or the certification, this actually auto-populated it, and it put it into the correct categories that I needed it to. Now, I had placed some information in here as far as my transcript, but I need to assign it to an area. So I'm going to show you how to make sure that we can do that so that it gets into the most appropriate area that you need it for. Okay? Yeah, I've blocked everything else out, but if you need something, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email. I will do my best to try to help answer some of your questions. So let's take a look at how I'm going to go ahead and assign this to a category. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Transcript. And now when I view on my transcript, it's going to bring me over to my transcript where I had just entered information in. And here you will notice that if it is green, it means that it has been assigned. And the great thing is that this has been fully assigned as a result of the National Registry Recertification component. So we're able to go ahead and put that information in. And then I can go here to my unassigned area. And this is the CISM team. So I go ahead and I click on this. It is now going to bring up for me where I am going to need to apply this. You can see that I have already covered up my national component. I don't need anything else in there. Now I have my choice. Am I going to do this from the local or state component or individual? And because it is related to something that I am going to be doing as an individual, I'm going to go ahead and end up assigning it here to my individual topics. And now I can go back to view my courses. And now this is showing me that it has been fully assigned to that area. And there's all of my information. Again, if I need to attach any more information here, I can certainly go ahead and do that. Now at this point, I came back just to show you the idea that from here, I was able to go ahead and I had assigned it to an individual. You notice that there were 15 hours. I had 14 that was already complete. And you can see that it has given me the indication that I still have 1 hour remaining, and from my local and state, I still have all 15 hours, but I have successfully completed my national content. So I'm going to go ahead and finish entering this stuff in. Hopefully you're going to do the same thing, and we'll meet back here and continue on with our process. So we went ahead and filled in all of our information in relationship to filling out your transcript. Now for myself, one of those things that I was able to do is that in Pennsylvania, anytime that a continuing education course is conducted, the information is placed into the provider's EMS portal, and there is a complete record of when this class occurred. The only thing that you may run into problems with if you're in Pennsylvania is that if you have not recorded where it was located at and who the instructor was. Otherwise, your certificates are made available to you through the PA Department of Health's EMS portal for the EMS provider. Once this information has now been placed in, you see that we've already included all this information. I went ahead and assigned all of my areas. So let's take a look at what this looks like now. And to do so, I'm going to go ahead and look at my transcript. And I can see here that I have already assigned several areas. And then once I get down here to where it says partially assigned in these two areas, and I did not assign something for a protocol update. And the reason that they were not assigned is because they have met the minimum criteria. If you want to go ahead and assign them and it indicates that you have exceeded the minimum requirements, that's perfectly fine. In these areas, I had already gone over, so I did not go ahead and add those in. So we can also then take a look at if we go to manage my education. When I go into manage my education, if you were going to change and do something a little bit different, and you wanted to change your recertification model, you could do so here. So really you only have two choices, and it is the NCCP 16 or the NCCP 2012. So we went ahead and I'm just keeping that right there at the 16. And you can see that no matter what I used, I went ahead and everything is identified here in green, has been completed. And this is a great advantage of when you are doing a formal NCCP recertification course, that this information in each one of these categories is going to go ahead and auto-populate without a problem. Now, one of the things that I did not show you, and hopefully you may have identified that, is that if I go in here to see what I did, I went under local content, and I was able to identify that a certification course, and there was a nice little question mark there beside that certification course to give you an idea of what's going on. It'll explain it to you. So I went ahead and I used an ACLS course that I had taught, and I also had taught an EMS safety course. Both of those were already into my system, and I went ahead and assigned those to local or state components. And as you can see, they actually met the criteria. So even though the ACLS renewal course that I was in was 8 hours of continuing education through Pennsylvania, it assigned only the necessary 7 hours that it needed. And I can also then take a look here at my individual content, and here I had a course that was in actuality 6.5 hours. It took the 1 hour that it needed to fill in the individual component. It also, anything that says DE, will show you whether or not it was distance education. Please make sure that you take a look at the requirements for distance education as it relates to the local, the individual, and the national content. Almost done. Yeah, this is back at your dashboard. If you're ever stuck as to where you need to go straight back to the dashboard. It'll give you a great idea of what's happening here, okay? So as I take a look at this, you will notice that I have met all the criteria here, and I do need to fill in some additional information. So that means I have to get some verification. My skills do need to be verified by the training officer or the medical director, and those are going to be automatically prompted to make sure that those skill verifications are going to be taken care of. So that is going to be affiliated with the service that you have already placed in there. So what we're going to do though at this point is we're going to go ahead to step 3 where it says submit your application in the recert. So when I click on this, it's going to bring me right to the page that I need for my recert application. It tells me that I've completed my continuing education. Now I need to complete the rest of the process. So we'll go ahead and let you do that, and we'll come back and see what we have left. At the end of this, you will have the ability to go back and if you clicked on your recert application right here, this will bring you back to be able to review everything. And as I scroll down here, you will see that everything is aligned. So I have my name, I have the recert model, what level I'm at, my affiliation. I do have an affiliation, so therefore that means that I'm going to be active. If you're going to be inactive, that means that you've met all the criteria for renewal, except that nobody has signed off on your skills, so therefore you would be considered to be inactive, and that is quite okay. It's better to maintain your National Registry certification, and you can always upgrade that a little bit later on if you need to. So the method that I did this was through continuing education. Again, you do have the ability to be able to recertify by exam if you so choose. And everybody always wonders about that. So if you're going to renew by recertification exam, you would pay to go take the National Registry entry-level exam again. You would take the computer adaptive exam. And if you pass, then you're automatically renewed. If you happen to not pass that, you still have the ability to be able to renew by continuing education. So that is an advantage if you're interested to find out what happens with the exam. What do the students see when they are leaving the programs? So we're going to scroll down here and we're going to take out and take a look at, we completed our continuing education, completed our profile and our workforce information. So this makes sure that we can give some information to the National Registry so they can have some great data for the future use. We have our legal issues that we had to make sure that we had. We went ahead and did our terms of service, entered in all my information in relationship to for payment, and now it's time to just go ahead and submit the application. So once I've done this, I can then click submit my application. And now it is going through, and it's going to obviously ask me for potentially some more information to take been chosen for a survey. All right, so if you were asked to take a survey, it was entirely up to you as to whether or not you wanted to take a survey. Since we try to know more and more about our industry, I would encourage you to make sure that you just take a few moments and go ahead and answer the questions that they may have posed to you in a survey, and it helps us all in the future. So if you scroll down a little bit further, here you will notice that we went from after all that information, we're coming down and now it has 2 pending reviews. One is for the training officer review, and the other one is for the medical director review. As I had alluded to earlier, if you were going to become inactive, where again you've met the criteria for education, but you're not going to have anybody sign off because you're not affiliated with the service, or you don't have a medical director. You need both of those to become active. So even if you're in between jobs, you may have to come in as inactive, and then you can always update that a little bit later on to become active. But if, as I'm applying here for my active status, I need to make sure that I make my training officer aware, as well as my medical director, so that they can go into the account and activate or review my information as it relates to skills. Afterwards, these will change over from pending review to submitted, I'm assuming, and then we can go from there and finishing up that, and that application will be submitted. Finally, that last part is that it is going to have pending information. So that means that it's going to be a pending review. So therefore, if it does not get approved by the 3/31 date that I'm due to expire, I will be listed as inactive. So it would just require you to do a little bit more work to make sure that you get that changed over. So it's why it's very important to make sure that you know who your medical director is and how to get in contact with them. That's number one. And number two, who your field training officer is, or who your training officer is at your service, so that you can make sure that they complete the information as well. And of course, you also have the ability to withdraw your application should you choose to do so. As I had pointed out earlier, when you're here and you're looking at the dashboard, you can see that all your information was taken care of. Again, a lot of these areas are very self-explanatory. Take a look at them. If you click on the View Account Records, it is going to take you to the area in which you can take a look at what your current card is. You can print that out. You can print out your current certificate. You can look at your recertification application and make sure that it's printed out. And then any receipts that you may have already used, such as submitting your $20 for renewal. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Hopefully that answers a lot of your questions and makes life easier for you. Again, I really think they've tried to make it easier. And, you know, with the way that the CAPC is working with this, that may be a way to take a look at things in the future as well. So have a great day.